Marcus Red was the last name on the list. Before him came Elijah Boone, Rico Shank Delaney, Tyrell Marks, and Vincent Crate Alvarez, for fugitives who slipped out of Orleans Parish prison like ghosts. But Marcus wasn't like them. He didn't fight, stab, or run. He vanished with precision, patience, and a plan so perfect it stunned even the FBI. This is the story of the 5th New Orleans Jailbreaker, and how the quietest man on the cell block became the most dangerous escape artist the city had ever seen. Title: 5th New Orleans Jailbreaker captured. Genre: true crime fictional. It started with a storm. In early September, the skies above New Orleans turned dark and heavy. Rain pounded the city for hours, flooding streets and knocking out power in several neighborhoods. But deep in the heart of the city, at the Orleans Parish Prison, something far more dangerous was brewing beneath the surface. For inmates had already escaped that year. Each breakout was more daring than the last, and each one left the city on edge. The first slipped away during a riot. The second cut through a supply fence. The third used a stolen uniform. And the fourth, he vanished from a transport van, leaving behind only zip ties and confusion. But it was the 5th one, Marcus Red, that made headlines across the country. Marcus wasn't like the others. He wasn't violent or loud or known for causing trouble. In fact, most people barely remembered he was there. But behind his quiet eyes was a brilliant mind and a plan that took nearly a year to execute. While others fought or ran, Marcus watched and waited. He studied guard shifts. He memorized routes. He learned when deliveries came and where keys were stored. Over time, he used scraps of metal to build a small picklock hidden inside the spine of a Bible. And then, when the storm hit, he made his move. The rain shorted a section of the prison's old security grid. Cameras flickered and failed. Guards scrambled to respond to alarms that didn't stop ringing. And in the chaos, Marcus slipped into a janitor's closet, changed into a mop-wielding disguise, and walked straight out the front door. By the time the prison realized what had happened, he was already gone. A week passed. Then, too, the FBI got involved. Tips flooded in from across the state. Some said he was in Baton Rouge. Others claimed he took a boat to Florida. But all of them were wrong. Marcus hadn't gone far. In fact, he was hiding just 6 blocks from the prison in the attic of an abandoned shotgun house, watching the news and counting the days. He lived off canned food and collected rainwater to drink. He used a burner phone only once a week, never in the same place twice. He even dyed his hair and shaved his beard to avoid being recognized. For nearly 3 months, he was invisible. Then, something changed. A security guard named Harold Torres came forward. He'd worked the night shift for 8 years without a single incident. But during a routine check, he noticed a flashlight blinking through the boarded windows of the abandoned house across the street. It was fast, almost like Morse code. He called it in. Police arrived hours later. They didn't find Marcus immediately. The house was a maze of traps and false walls. But on the 3rd floor, hidden behind a sheet of drywall, they heard faint breathing. It was over. Marcus was arrested without a fight. When asked how he pulled it off, he simply smiled and said, "I had time." Investigators later uncovered that Marcus had been sending coded signals using a flashlight, likely trying to communicate with someone outside. But who that person was, or what they were planning, remains a mystery. As of today, only 2 of the 5 jailbreakers remain at large. Marcus Red is back in prison, this time in solitary, under 24-hour watch, but the city still whispers his name. Not because he escaped, because he almost got away with.